Good evening, everyone. Let me call to order this meeting of the West Palm Beach City Commission. Today is October 28th, 2024, and the time is 5 p.m. We will start this meeting off as we do all of our meetings with a moment of silence, please. Madam President, can you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Let me remind everyone of the rules of civility and decorum which govern this meeting. Officials shall be recognized by the chair and shall not interrupt the speaker. Public comment shall be addressed to the City Commission as a whole and not to any individual in the dais or in the audience. Displays of anger, rudeness, ridicule, impatience, lack of respect, and personal attacks are strictly prohibited. Unauthorized remarks from the audience, stamping of feet, whistles, yells, and similar demonstrations should not be permitted. Please govern yourselves accordingly, as offenders may be removed from the meeting. Also, any person wishing to speak shall complete a comment card for each agenda item the person wishes to address, which shall include the person's full name, address, and the numbered agenda item. Note that the person will not be recognized if the comment card is not completed. All right. Madam City Administrator, are there any additions, deletions, reorganization of the agenda?
No, Mr. Mayor, but I would like to note that for item 11.3, there is a request for a continuance that the board would need to vote on by separate action.
All right. To a date certain?
Yes.
Okay, we will note that when we get to that item then. All right, we do have a couple of presentations. Beginning with, we have a proclamation to issue proclaiming the month of November 2024 as Veterans Appreciation Month. The proclamation will be accepted by the Human Resources Department and the following Armed Forces Veteran City employees: Tim Scott, Risk Manager from Navy; Sebastian Arvizo, Safety Officer from Army; Susan Leedy Rodriguez, HR Technician from Army; and Thomas Kiefer, Firefighter from Coast Guard. The proclamation basically provides the City of West Palm Beach joins in recognizing the service and sacrifice of all veterans during the month of November. This month pays tribute to our servicemen and women and provides an opportunity for their family members and the general public to gather and express gratitude and appreciation for members of the military and coalition forces, as well as all veterans from all wars. And we're pleased to present this proclamation because, ladies and gentlemen, our freedoms are not free. So we certainly thank all of our veterans, certainly the ones who are here tonight, for all of their service to our country. And I'll come down and present this proclamation. Someone going to say a few words?
Yes, we are.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor James, commissioners, and administration for recognizing the veterans who are employed across the city. Where did you guys go? We thank all our veterans for your sacrifices, for your courage, strength, and dedication, for protecting us and defending our rights. We're grateful to patriots like you who support us, who support our families, who help us make what we are today, which is the world's greatest force for stability and peace on the face of the earth. In our city, we have veterans in every union as well as non-represented employee groups across 13 city departments. I'd like to introduce you to some of the city's amazing veterans who are behind me and need to come to the front, please. In our red shirt, we have Navy Chief Petty Officer Tim Scott, City Risk Manager, who served in Japan and Iraq, holding various security officer assignments, including Operation Southern Watch, as well as being a search and rescue swimmer. Next we have Army Specialist Sebastian Arviso, our city safety officer, who served stateside handling hazardous materials and decontamination as related to weapons of mass destruction. Then we have the very shy Army Sergeant Susan Lady Rodriguez, who is a recruiter in the Human Resources Department. She served in South Korea and Germany, managing the entire HR function in support of Army companies, over 1,000 soldiers. And finally, our newest city member in this group is firefighter Thomas Kiefer. He served in the Coast Guard right here in Florida in direct support of the COVID-19 pandemic support. He's a recipient of several medals. So once again, thank you, and we're very grateful for all that you do and you have done for us. Thank you.
Before they return to their seats, do we have any other veterans, city employees in the audience? Please stand up. Thank you.
Thank you again.
Thank you. And again, thank you all for your service. We do have a couple of presentations. Is Erica Whitfield here? Oh, there she is. Okay. She is one of our esteemed school board members. So welcome, Ms. Whitfield.
Thank you very much, Mayor and Commissioners. I appreciate you allowing me to be here today. This is something I try to do every year, just come and give a little update on our schools because you all are so engaged in our school system. Again, my name's Erica Whitfield. I've served on the school board now for 10 years, and so I've tried to come here many times to just share with you a little bit about what's going on in our schools, but really to be available for questions. If you guys have anything at all, I'm happy to answer it. So let me just talk a little bit about where our school system is right now and maybe some ideas of things we can do going forward. First of all, we are very, very proud because our school system is now an A-rated school system. Again, we had a little bit of a blip where we went down to a B. Nobody liked that. The school system was very upset. Our superintendent was very reluctant to take out the sign in front of our building that says A-rated school system. So as soon as we got it back, it was up, I think, by 3 o'clock that day. So we could put it back up. We were so proud of it. One of the reasons why we have gotten this score again is because of what our schools have been doing, and your schools have been amazing in the things that they've done. So let me just give you a few highlights of your area. Actually, I'll give you all of them that I have written down here, which is quite a bit. Obviously, you have Dreyfus right here. That's always been an A school, and A school. Coniston remains a C school, but Forest Hill High School, Big Shining Star went from a C to a B this year. Very difficult to do for a high school, so we're extremely proud of that. Meadow Park has remained an A. South Olive has remained a B. Northborough remains a B as well. Northmore went from a C to a B, so we're very proud of that. UB Kinsey went from a C to a B, so very proud of that one as well. Belvedere went from a D to a C. It's amazing. Palmetto Elementary, C to a B. These are huge gains for these kids. We are just blown away. Pleasant City from a D to a C. Westward went from a C to a B. Winbrook went from an an A to a B. I know they'll get it back next year. And then the two schools, Roosevelt Middle remained a C, which is fine. Roosevelt Elementary was one of the ones that we've really struggled with this year. We had an F last year, which is awful, and now we're at a D. So they are working very hard. The superintendent, it is our main focus of really the entire county right now is fixing Roosevelt Elementary School. We have a new principal that is a very tried and true and tested principal that has moved over there. She's wonderful, and we're very hopeful that that school is going to be turned around. It is on the state watch list, so the superintendent has been going to speak to the Department of Education, and there is a specific plan for that school, so I want you to know that there's nobody that is not paying attention to this right now. It is very, very important for us that we get there. Some of the things that I think that could really help us in our fight to be the best school system on the planet, which is I'm not shy of it as a goal of mine, and I really do think we are doing so great. In the state of Florida, we only have 2 school districts that are A-rated that are urban school districts. It's us and Miami-Dade, so we're extremely proud of that. So it's something we want to keep going forward with. But some of the things that the community can help us with is really tackling 2 issues that I think are of utmost importance. The first is attendance. We struggle with attendance. Post-COVID, people don't want to come to school. This has become a real issue. The students don't think they need to be there. Their parents aren't pressuring them to come. One of the things I like to say is my 4-year-old even tried it like a month ago. She was sitting there and she said, "Mom, I don't want to go to school today." And I was like, "Well, are you sick?" And she was like, "No." And I was like, "Well, we go to school. That's just what we do. So if we're not sick, we go to school." And she's just talking about pre-K, but I think this is really like a mindset for us as a community to really have everyone believe that we need to go back and be a part of school every day without question, unless there's a real reason, like you're sick or something else is going on. But even in that case, you should be dealing with your teachers, your principal, whoever it is, to be able to figure out what you're missing and be able to catch up on that work. Last year, the school system had 39% of their students miss 11 days or more. So our students were really missing out. When we get to 11 days or more in a year, we consider that chronic absenteeism. It kicks us up to another level. For that student, we know it does impact their ability to learn by not being there. So it's something that if the commission is interested, I think we should be doing more outreach to our communities, really talking about attendance and why West Palm students need to be attending school, why they should be there, and how important that is. So if that's something you all are interested in, I think it's something that could be a really good action item from this little talk today. The second thing I'd like to mention is VPK, the importance of getting children in school at 4 years old. As I mentioned, I have a daughter who is in VPK right now. VPK is free for 3 hours a day, so we can get our students in there for 3 hours a day, and they should be across the board throughout our school system. I'd really like to see every student coming in at that age into a quality voluntary preschool setting. Again, it is voluntary. You're not mandated to do it, but it's something that getting a student in there so they can learn the basics before they get into their elementary school years is so important. And every kindergarten teacher that I know says, "Man, I wish they went to pre-K," because if they do, you can see when they come in, they sit still better, they raise their hands, they know how to go to the bathroom, which is great. They know their letters, their numbers, letter sounds. These are all very, very important for a student. We also put together a little bit of an information that you can find on our website that talks about the basic skills that students need to know in order to be ready for kindergarten. So if you are not bringing your child to pre-K, please make sure that they are understanding these basic concepts before they come. Otherwise, they start behind, they stay behind, and it is very difficult for a teacher to be able to catch a student up when they started behind where the classroom is. The next thing I want to mention, so VPK, everybody. Oh, and I do tackle this at the state level every year, and I would love your support if you're interested in that. I do believe it is a very bipartisan issue that is on the brink of passing at the state legislature, which is to extend our VPK day. 3 hours is just not enough. I think we need to get to 6, which is what a normal elementary school day is. So if we could get that extra time, I think the legislature is very close to making this move, and it's something that I would love to have the support of the city as we go forward. As I said, I think they're close. We just need to kind of push them a little bit harder. And I think it would be the biggest change for education here in the state of Florida and make that happen. Finally, I want to mention we do have a referendum that is coming up on the ballot in just a week, 8 days. And so if you have seen that on there, the school district, 9 years ago, I came to you all and I asked for everyone to understand what is going on with our capital issues. So we have had after 2008, we had a big problem with our funding, where we had to move all of our funding from our capital funding into our operating funds because there was a huge recession that happened. So when that happened, we took a lot of money away from our capital budget. We did ask the community to support us for $1 billion, half of a penny, going forward to be able to fix our schools. We really had about $2 billion worth of need, but we asked for $1 billion. The community did come with that. It is not a small amount of money. It was quite large and a huge ask. We came forward with that 9 years ago. We are actually coming to the end of that time on those funds, and we've decided as a school board to continue going forward with the half penny that we had. The other half, for people in the audience who may not realize, the other half of the penny was going to the city and to the county, and they have elected not to go forward with that. So it's just us going forward. So no matter what happens after the vote, we are going to go down to a 6.5% sales tax for our community, down from the 7 where we are now. We are asking as a school board to go forward with continuing that half penny. The things that we have paid for with it, just so you know, and has been evaluated by an independent review oversight committee this entire time, is we've built new schools. We're still an expanding community. We've actually, with that A rating, people still want to attend our public schools because they are awesome. So with that A rating, we are having to expand, especially out west, building additional schools. We have had to put in a lot more technology improvements. That's really one of the things, just keeping up. During COVID, we were one of the communities that did, I think, the best, because we were able to purchase computers for every student using these funds. And if we had not had those available, I'm not sure what we would have done. And so we were able to get computers for every single person in our school system so we could continue learning even while we were closed down. Those computers remain in our schools. The students still have them. It has really accelerated our learning. We were also able to put smart boards in all the classrooms, 12,000 classrooms. It's not a small feat for us to do that. So all of that was due to the funding from the previous referendum, and so we went forward and we put it on this upcoming ballot. And I just wanted to bring that up to everybody so they understand there still is a great need. We were able to fix floors and roofs and HVAC systems that are, always tricky. So all of those things were included in that referendum, and so we put it back on the ballot again. And I just wanted to put myself here in front of you, see if you have any questions about the referendum, or if you have any questions about anything related to the school system. I'd be happy to answer it.
Thank you, Ms. Whitfield. Thank you for your service. Thank you for that presentation. Quick question. I participated in some conversations regarding Roosevelt Elementary, where they were moving toward, I believe, the project-based learning model. Haven't had any meetings recently, but I just wondering, are those plans still afoot?
Yes, absolutely. We are still going forward with that. Our portion of it, which is just creating the project-based learning work within the classroom, that is going forward to it. There was a larger conversation about the community support, and so that has stalled out a little bit. But as far as what the school district is doing, that is happening 100%. The outside work is ongoing. It's just not quite as far as we would hope it would be. So,
And are they still making some physical improvements to the plan at the school?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Absolutely, yeah, we are fixing it up. But I think that this new principal is going to be the big change that we're going to need to see to be able to really improve that school. And we know we can do it, so that's what we're working on right now.
Great, thank you.
Hope I have better news for you next year when I come.
Thank you so much. President Ward?
Thank you, Mayor. I had a couple questions, but just could you explain the difference between how the district is rated versus every school's rating?
Sure, absolutely. So when we look at the school district as a whole, it is an aggregate of all of the school's grades. And the way that it was The reason why we went to a B, I want to explain this because I think it's very interesting. So the state of Florida decided to change their testing and the way that they tested all of our students. And so we had a shift in the tests that we were using. When that shift happened, all the schools were kind of held harmless for a year, which meant all the grades stayed the same. No, but nothing changed. After that first test, we did our baseline on the new test. And so the baseline, what that was everybody took the same test and we figured out where their grades landed, where their scores landed. And then the state of Florida made a decision on what the number of points for each school was for it to achieve an A. So the A was a little bit lower before with the previous test. They brought in a new test, and then they also raised the level of what it took to become an A school. And so after the first year, we were only able to get the baseline data. You only get what the score of the actual school was during that time. The next year, we were able to get the baseline data of what the school got plus learning gains. So when you have a student who is a very low-level student, maybe getting a 1 on the test, and then the next year you can get that student to go to a 2, even though they're still lower than we would like them to be, they get extra points based on the growth of the student, because growth is what we're really going for. We want to show that we are educating students. So when the state of Florida is looking at the schools as an aggregate, they're taking all of the scores that we're getting from all of our schools and seeing what the baseline score was across the board and then what their learning gains were. So in a school that's really struggling, you could still see a decent grade based on the ability to move the children. Whereas if you have a student who's a 5, which is the highest, they're just going to get that baseline score, but they don't get gains if they just remain a 5 over the years. Does that make sense?
Makes sense. Thank you. And thanks for coming in and providing all this information. I really appreciate it. And I was going to talk about Roosevelt Elementary as well, because it's kind of, when we talk about Northmore, for instance, they've really leaned into the project-based learning, got their choice programming. I'm really happy to see that they're now a B school. That principal is awesome. The last principal that came into Roosevelt L, that's what we thought was going to move the needle. And it's still, now we're in another new principal and we still haven't. And so I would hope that we're taking a look holistically to make sure what are we missing here and what can we do and infill in other ways that we're not needing to do in other schools at this school, because I just feel like even in my short tenure, we've been talking about this school for far too long and we still haven't realized the gains that I know that those children are capable of.
I absolutely agree with you. Very honestly, the principal that we had previous to this was an amazing person, but had only served in an AP role previously. So when we went to this new round and picked a principal, we chose a principal who had a long-standing proven record of principalship and for moving schools. So I think that you're going to see a large amount of gains just based on the experience that we're bringing in with this new principal. So fingers crossed we are all really on board. And with the state plan, it gives us even more of a motivation and focus. So we're putting a lot of resources into Roosevelt Elementary right now. So I think you're going to see some turnaround next year on this. And I very much wish we could have said that it worked the first change. But this one seems a little bit more promising, I think, with the experience of our current principal.
Well, thank you. And any support you need, you and I have children, or your youngest and my only, that are similar in age. And, the full day pre-K is so important. 3 hours a day is not enough, especially for working moms. And so whatever you need to do from me personally and as support, I'm with you, because we should have that. We should have already had that for years. So thank you.
Thank you so much. I agree with you. And I also would like to say I would like to see people put their children in school starting at 2 to 3. I think 3 is really kind of a bare minimum, just for that experience of being in school. And I've done it with my own children. I think it's really important. But 4 years old I really think we need to get them in there. And school day's fun at that age. There's not a lot of pressure. It's a good time. So thank you. I appreciate your support.
Commissioner Warren.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Ms. Whitfield. How are you?
Good, thank you.
I appreciate your mentioning Roosevelt Elementary as well, because we know that elementary school is the groundwork for all future learning. And when you have urban schools that are challenged and have an F grade, we know that it is typically a result of
inequities in funding and breaking the poverty cycle, not necessarily aptitude of the children. So it's important that we stay focused on the children and how we provide them with the things that they need in spite of the challenges that are faced due to the issues that I just mentioned. So thank you for that. And what a lot of people here may not know as well is that you're also a member of the Palm Beach County Housing Advisory Board, and you speak often about the housing issues that our children are facing, and often coming up with solutions to ensure that they have dignity and that their special needs are addressed, because it's a real issue. So I'd like to thank you for that. And if there's anything else that you would like to add to the conversation of how we can assist the children that are facing this very critical issue, I'd be happy to hear that as well. But I'd just like to say thank you very much for your 10 years of service to our children.
Thank you, Commissioner. I appreciate you bringing up the housing situation. That is definitely where my heart has been these 10 years. So what I am very proud of right now is that I was always getting phone calls from people asking me where the need was within our school system. And, it would take me 2 weeks to get an answer. Sometimes I have to go through the bureaucracy and rigmarole of asking people and finding different bits of information. So people wanted to know where we had our children that were experiencing insecure housing. The people wanted to know where we struggled with our direct certified or our children that were, hungry and we used to call them free or reduced lunch. We don't really do that anymore, but people wanted to know that, and that way they could direct, any kind of support to those schools. Well, through just these amazing committees that I sit on, we discussed an idea of having a dashboard that would be accessible to everyone in the public, so that you could go and look up where the schools are that need the most help. So that dashboard has recently become published. I'm very excited about this. We're going to start putting it out there so people can see. On this dashboard, you can look up and see the schools in your area. I have it actually so that you can do it by municipality. So you can look up all West Palm Beach schools. You can see what the hunger needs are within there, whether or not they have a weekend backpack program is where we feed the kids on the weekends. We'll actually send a bag of food home every weekend with them, and that needs outside funding for that. You can also look and see if the children currently, what the updated numbers are for the children that we have that are considered homeless under the school district's definition, which is a broad definition. So you can see last year's numbers versus this year's numbers and compare that. You can also see the attendance data for our children that are struggling. When you have a child who is not in a safe or secure house. We have children that sleep outside in Palm Beach County every night. That happens. And so when they're not in a safe, secure environment, their attendance is terrible. And they come in hungry because they didn't have a place to go eat. So to have the community's support around these issues. Also discipline data. We were very brave to put our discipline data out there. I had to convince some of the staff, so please don't use it against us. But I want that to be something so that we have a broad picture of what it means for these children when they are struggling, what that does to your school environment, what that does to their everyday. So that information is now out on this dashboard, so you can have your data people look through it, and nobody has to wait weeks to find out that information. And then that way the community of West Palm Beach can rally around their children, because they're our children, and I want to be able to support them. And you'd be amazed when you see there are children dealing with homelessness in many schools that you would not expect throughout our community. So they are there and they need support. And one of my goals is that there would be a backpack program in every single one of the schools in the county before I'm done on the school board. So I'm at about 70 right now. Sometimes it gets a little bit higher than that and lower depending on funding sources, but we have 183 schools, so either a backpack program or a pantry, so I have a little ways to go, but we're making progress. And so I'm very proud of that. Also, just to mention on your mention about Roosevelt Elementary, we do have the Bezos Academy for preschool that has gone in there, and that is going to be a huge change maker in that school as well. So that is a significant investment from an outside funder to really support those children, and I think you're going to see that that'll actually make a big difference, because as I said, preschool is where you make that change. So I think it's really good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Fox.
Thank you so much for being here. All 4 of my questions that I wrote down have been answered, but I do want to thank you so much for continuing to come and update us on the state of our schools. It's great to hear the progress that we're making. We obviously have more to do, but looking forward to continuing to work with you and hearing these updates of how we can help. And I have some action steps from you that I've written down to make sure to share with all my friends and their kids. So thank you again for coming.
Commissioner Lambert.
Thank you so much for coming and presenting. I appreciate the partnership that you've had with our city, because as we work diligently to ensure we have a safe, thriving, successful city, our schools are a big part of that. I know that many of us, as well as the data tells us, that we've had teachers that have impacted our lives, and it's individual teachers that sometimes really make a difference in a student's life. And I know in Palm Beach County, as well as throughout the state, we've struggled with recruitment and retaining teachers. Can you talk a little bit about what the district might be doing now to be creative, to help combat that?
So we've been very fortunate, and thank you very much for that question. I appreciate it. We've been very fortunate with, again, this community. We actually have 2 referendums that are out there. So this one that I'm talking about now was 9 years ago, and it was for a 10-year referendum for us to be able to get funding from the sales tax. The other one is on the property tax. We have a 1 mil levy that we have had on there, and it's been 8 years. It's been renewed, and that 1 mil levy actually goes to increase teacher pay, and I would say it is one of the crucial reasons why we keep teachers, because if you've been a teacher for more than 10 years, you get an extra $10,000 in your paycheck per year, and so that additional funding really brings it up to almost a reasonable amount of money for people who are living in this community. It is so difficult, though. I think this all ties back in when we start talking about the housing crisis and what's going on with our children and our families. Our teachers are not our worst paid employees, unfortunately. We have school food service workers, we have, our custodial staff, bus drivers, they all don't make very much money either. And so as we are looking at trying to keep people in this community and continuing working, at least with the teachers, we have the referendum. And so that's a wonderful thing that we have that. And so we do work really hard to really have a better amount of money for our teachers than our surrounding communities so we can keep people here. The other thing that we have been very fortunate is we have been able to give raises that have been fairly decent over the years. I wouldn't say anything is anywhere near what a teacher deserves, but we have been able to continually give 3 and 4 and last year 7% raise to our teachers. That does really continue to keep people in the profession, and we do have the highest starting teacher salary in the state. That being said, starting teacher salary this year is going to be $53,000, which is great for a starting kid coming out of school, but the progression to a veteran teacher is very slow. And so to get people to that level where we really need them to be, they're still 70, 80,000 even after 30 years of working with us. And so that, to me, it really doesn't show that increase. It's not showing people a way to get to a livable wage working for us. And that, when you look at the lower level employees that are really not making very much, it is very difficult to recruit. So I know you all have the same issues here at the city. And we have 23,000 employees, so we rely on our community a lot to keep us going. So we have to continually work. So we work on raises. We, thank God, have the referendum, but we continue to go to the state to ask for additional funding to pay for our staff to be able to stay with us, and then anything that we can do to try to create opportunities for housing, I think, is very important here, because I think as time goes on, some people have homes they've had for many years, so that helps. But when we get further down the line, those people are going to leave, and we need to recruit new people to a community. And when I say to somebody, move to Palm Beach County, we have a great job for you, and then they have nowhere to live, it's very difficult. We also do work on trying to get people roommate situations to try to help, but that can only last for so long. People want to get married and have children, and we want to support that.
Any other questions for school board member? Thank you again for your report, and look forward to hearing from you in the future.
And again, if anybody ever has any questions for me, please reach out, erica.whitfield@palmbeachschools.org. Thank you all very much for having me again here today, and I look forward to bringing you good news again next year. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Staying on the, let's give her a hand. Staying on the theme of education, we are now going to get a presentation from the city's Education Advisory Committee from Committee Chair Dr. Marcia Bedassi and Committee Vice Chair Nancy Bourne.
Good
evening,
afternoon, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners. Thank you for the opportunity to spend some time with you in talking about what the Education Advisory Committee does and to share a recent win or success that we've experienced. So about 3 years or so ago, we partnered with the mayor. The mayor was very gracious in providing grants, a grant that would allow schools, elementary schools in the city of West Palm Beach to have funding to do a little extra. As you heard from School Board Member Whitfield, that there are times when interest wanes, as well as attendance is not as it should be, and the Education Advisory Committee wanted to be an integral part of helping schools in the city gain some trajectory and momentum in areas of need. So with that, we provided funding to schools to enhance reading and math programs in their schools. Well, this past year, with the help of Nancy, our vice chair, we decided that we wanted to go a slightly different route. And we know that research supports experiential learning. So the goal of EAC then was to engage in partnerships with local organizations in the city and in the county in general to engage students in some meaningful opportunities where they could experience learning experientially that was outside of the classroom but would directly enhance the content that was being addressed in the classroom.
Great. So investing in students and paving the way for a brighter future is really why we're here today and why education is this first topic. So as Dr. Bedassi said, in the spring, the city of West Palm Beach launched an innovative partnership grant aimed at enhancing educational outcomes for the students. Mayor James and the Education Advisory Committee, through Commissioner Ward's leadership, provided $4,000 in funding for these elementary schools to engage in enriching experiences, and we partnered with nonprofits. So we believe that this program underscores the commitment of the city, and especially Mayor James, to provide students with access to these high-quality educational opportunities. So you'll see students learned from a wide variety of hands-on experiences aligned to the curriculum, and they had a wonderful time. I'll let these pictures speak for that.
Hold on for a minute. Okay, now they're showing up. Okay.
So just really quickly, what you saw there were students engaging in hands-on learning, like at the Cox Science Center. If a school had, say, younger children and they didn't think it was wise to take them off campus, the centers would go into the schools and provide them with the same experience that the older students had. So that's just a little snapshot of what took place for many of the schools. If you have any questions, we'd be happy to entertain those.
Well, first of all, thank you for your work on the committee, and it certainly provides us with some direction as to how to use these funds, which we're taking out with the support of the commissioners here out of our general fund budget to provide these opportunities for the children. But you all are where the rubber meets the road, so thank you for your service. Thank you for that presentation. Any questions, commissioners? Commissioner Warren?
My comment is actually, thank you very much for all that you're doing. And thank you, Mayor, because as I was reading the letters, as they were kind of scrolling by, I saw one from one of my cousin's students. He's a science teacher in elementary school. And so it just, made my heart, beat and jump when I saw that letter from there, and to see his students on some of the trips that they were able to attend through this funding. I know that it means a lot to them, it means a lot to him, and I'm just happy that we were able to support that.
The feedback we received from the principals of the schools, as well as the teachers and the cards and the comments, and so we wanted to put those together in a easy to see format, but they were wonderful, and we hope that this program can continue in the future. Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Lambert?
Thank you so much, and thank you, Mayor, too, and your administration for these grants. Is something that I've long advocated for, and it was exciting to see those faces on there. I saw a future meteorologist, a future scientist, and maybe a future city leader in those classrooms and at the Science Center, so that was very exciting. And my other comment is just a comment to administration. I know that in the past we've had a half-time employee dedicated to helping some educational activities within the city. I don't know if we still have that position, but I'm still an advocate for at least that half-time, but would love to see in the future a full-time employee who can help us to partner with the school district and the things that Ms. Whitfield mentioned and the things that I know our committee is working so hard at. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
President Ward?
Thank you. I just wanted to make a comment and say you guys are just, it's amazing being on the committee with you all. I love how we pivoted to more project-based learning experiences and pulling in our not-for-profits and other private sectors into helping educate our students, and I'm hoping we can expand it and continue on with it. We were recently on an economic council trip, and they were talking about a program that they created with their private sector at a higher level, and this is very similar. You're bringing in experimental learning at a different standpoint with real scientists, and they can see maybe a potential of what they could become, not just looking at a textbook. And so I've really loved my time on this committee, and I can't wait to see what we do next. So thank you, and thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay. Again, thank you both so
very
much
welcome.
for your work. Thank you.
So much.
All right, we'll now turn to consent calendar, items 8.1 through 8.9. Commissioners, any questions, comments on consent? 8.1 through 8.9. Do we have any cards?
No, Mr. Mayor.
Well, looks like we got one coming up. All right, Michael Cleveland, item 8.9.
Good evening, Michael Cleveland, West Palm Beach. Just have a concern as it relates to Pleasant City's roof. It states roof replacement. That word is a little vague, roof replacement, which would be much more than 80 grand. I would much rather they use the term roof resurfacing, because that's essentially what they're doing, stripping down the covering to the wood and replacing that. So you can be held liable, or the company can be held liable saying roof replacement. And I do think that roof was worked on within the last 15 years. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other, there are no other cards? No comments? Then I will entertain a motion.
Mayor, move approval of the items on consent.
It's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, like sign. Hearing no opposition, motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Item 9.1, resolution number 219-24, approving as Face of the City Delanex Regia, a public art installation by Carolina Sardi for Howard Park Community Center. 1% for public art is $56,000. Sabile?
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners. Sabile Cantal, Director of Arts, Culture, and Community Building. So, Delanex Regia, Latin, meaning the royal ponciana tree. So, Carolina Sardi, Argentinian-born, Miami-based artist, was elected to work with the architect Alfonso Hernandez, who's working on the Howard Park Community Center. She has been working, her art practice incorporates organic shapes and space and line, and she likes to cut into steel as part of her art practice to work with shadow and light. So she's doing a site-specific commission, which means basically that she has to respond to the site, to the context, and to the architecture and the environment surrounding it. So she worked very closely with Alfonso Hernandez in order to see where she should begin. The inspiration board shows the royal ponciana tree that sits outside Howard Park. It's very large. And you can see how the artist starts to work through her sketches and starts to incorporate the flower and really, truly start to deconstruct that flower. So I'm just showing you some of her examples of her thought process. So she took that to its bare minimum, and this is her final design, which is perforated design that she will incorporate throughout the architecture. So you'll see, and I'll give you several architectural layouts. You'll see that she uses the panels in the entryway of Howard Park with these, with this new design. The material is significant. She's using cortine steel. I've said that before. It's it naturally patinas, and you want it to naturally patina. So over time, that patina actually creates its own protective coating, which is perfect for maintenance. But also over time, it becomes a sort of amberish, reddish color. And she did that intentionally because she wants to reflect back to the nature and the tree that stands before it. So a couple more architectural sites so that you can see it. She really does incorporate it throughout the architecture. And some renderings to show you how the light and the shadows will play. The installation will actually happen off the wall, not on top of the wall, and that's done intentionally so that the shadow effect can occur throughout it. The proposed budget is design, materials, and preparation for the fabric and the supervision of the installation, but not the installation, which is going to be by others. And then another rendering, and the final. So on behalf of the Art Life Committee, they recommend unanimously the commission of Carolina Sardi for Howard Park Community Center. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that presentation. Any questions, comments, commissioners? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Mayor, I move to approve resolution number 219-24. This motion is based on the findings that the proposed artworks meet the criteria set forth in section 78-125 of the City Code as reviewed by the Art Life West Palm Beach Committee.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, like sign. Hearing no opposition, motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Item 9.2. Resolution number 220-24 approves, as Face of the City, the temporary installation of 500-plus portraits titled A Community Portrait, West Palm Beach, in the city's public places, buildings, and community centers. Sabila.
Hello, Spilace. So this one is different. This is a temporary project. It is a performative-based project. And this came out of a what's called the Inside Out project. This is a global project that started with JR, who's an internationally known artist. And this has been happening globally, and we are participants of this global framework. So through the platform of photography, and film, there was a team that went out to meet with the community. This team was made up of artistic photography and creative producers, Christine Wexler and Luis Gomez, and they put together a team, and between August 24th of this year and September 14th of 2024, they went out and visited our community centers, our neighborhoods, our public spaces, our cultural institutions, and any other public space that they could land on during that time. And throughout it, they took portraits. And people were incredibly receptive. They were very open. And it was very simple. You see that there's a background, and it's a background that's used throughout the IOP. And they took a snapshot of many, many participants. We used the social media. We used Instagram heavily during that time to promote it and to highlight some of the things that would happen moving forward. They went everywhere. They were in Grassy Waters as well. You know, they went from the south, the east, the west, you name it. They hit the city of West Palm Beach. They exceeded the 500 portraits. We ended up at 728. And this is a glimpse of what, I'm not going to show you all 728, but I'm going to give you a glimpse of the diversity that was captured and just how open and receptive the community of West Palm Beach was to this project. So the installations are set from November 4th to the 22nd. They're going to be set mostly in the garages, Curry Park Fence, Pleasant City, the City Place Plaza, and the Urban Living Room, to name a few. They are temporary. They are paper, wheat pasted, so they will not last. But for a moment, we'll have captured all these portraits. And let me show you just a fun video that we put together. That's 152 countries, and we are obviously the United States, but we are added West Palm Beach. There you have it. So now we're in the Inside Out website. We are one of the upcoming projects, and as I said, on the global map, you can see West Palm Beach now as an upcoming project, and you can see all of the portraits. And so that concludes it, a community portrait, West Palm Beach, 728 portraits. And the main question that was asked when we were doing all these portraits, not that, I shouldn't say we, that they were doing, they were asking what community is, and we came up with celebration, coexistence, diversity, identity, self-expression. So thank you.
Very good. Thank you for that presentation. Questions? President Ward?
I just had a comment and a question. The comment is that thank you, and I wish Christine was here because she was at so many community events, and I'd see her randomly and her team, and they were just awesome, and the community really liked it, and so I'm very grateful to her. My question is, I know you listed those, and then you had like public spaces on the bottom, so is that more, are we going to have an area where we can kind of see so we can go check out, or I can tell community members who got their picture taken, like, hey, go check out these areas?
So we don't know where whose portrait is going to be where.
Right.
I'm not sure. But we will, through Instagram, through the mayor's newsletter, we're going to keep saying, okay, we're here today, so that people have a chance to go out and look for themselves and look for their family and their friends.
Yeah, awesome.
And it's part of it.
Thank you.
And then they can also go online to that website if they wanted to look through all the
To
pictures.
really look through all of them and see themselves. Yep.
Okay.
And their friends and their family. And you'll see, all of a sudden, when I was looking through them, I'm like, I know a lot of people. Yeah. It was exciting. So.
Commissioner Fox.
Thank you. I was going to ask the same question about the locations, but I love everything about this. I can't say enough good things about this team. Everywhere I went in the city, they were there. They were there in the historic Northwest. They were there in City Place. They were just popping up everywhere, and it was just really nice to see them committed to going to where the people were, seeing them in action, and just being able to allow people to participate in their own spaces. And so thank you for really bringing this to us. It's fantastic. I can't wait to see the finished product.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? All right, if not, I'll entertain a motion.
Mayor, move approval of resolution number 220-24.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, like sign. Hearing no opposition, motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Resolution number 221-24 approves the proposed design for the Spruce Project in the Northwood Village neighborhood by local artist Renee Phillips for Northwood Partnership LLC, affiliated development, to satisfy their public art requirement. 1% escrow of $257,519.63.
Thank you. So I worked very closely with Affiliated. We started our discussions back in March of 2023. And we talked a lot about what they wanted to see because they had elected to put art on their site and what they were aiming to do. So I'm just giving you this, just not that I know everybody knows where the spruce is, but just to give you a little remembrance. So the mural, they've decided to do a mural, and the mural placement is going to be on 25th Street in the middle of that side of the building. So working with them, they decided that they really, truly wanted to work with the local artists. So the Palm Beach Cultural Council has an artist directory that has actually grown to over 650 registered artists. I utilize this resource a lot, and I point this out to everybody, but mostly developers who are looking for local talent. So if you know an artist, please make sure they register if they haven't. So saying that, we started discussing what their development would look like, but also what the essence of Northwood Village was. So they discovered 4 local artists that they really liked, and those artists went through a competitive process throughout, I think they went back to the committee 3 separate times. They were paid a stipend by Affiliated. And in the end, local artist Renee Phillips was selected. And she went and took upon herself to really dive into Northwood Village. She's very familiar with it. She's what's called a process-based artist, and she uses color theory. Color theory, like simplified, is how to put colors together to tell a story and to affect a meaning, not only visually, but to evoke feeling. And she really took a lot into Northwood Village, and then she put her art practice into it. So she took the ideas of air, of water, and of earth, and she would come up with this design. And this design this wall is massive. It is 80 feet high and 21 feet in width. That's 8 stories. And just to give you a perspective of the height of this, The Clematis Garage that has a mural right now is 3.5 stories. The water tank is 58 feet. So we are going to 80 feet. It's going to have a tremendous amount of presence. But she took 25 subtropical colors, blended them together to create this design. And one of the things that Affiliate and the committee were both looking at was how the viewer was going to look at something that was this tall, but you could not see it from far, far away because you're on 25th Street. And so the presence of walking up to it and seeing and experiencing it on ground level was equally as important as somebody, capturing it with a drone. So she really did a good job at this because she weighted her design down, making it abstract and working with colors. Also, the eye doesn't have a certain focal point because we're not looking at a specific imagery. So both Affiliated and the committee were very delighted with this design, and they unanimously recommend to City Commission that Renee Phillips, she's called it Northwood Color Fields, be recommended for this commission.
Very good. Thank you for that presentation. Any questions, comments? Commissioner Warren?
Thank you. I applaud Mr. Burns and Mr. Rojo for seeking to work with local artists. I think that's important for developers to do. Years ago, we had an issue with some local artists not having the experience and capacity to bid for these types of opportunities. Are we doing anything to work with them to help them be in position to participate?
So that's why I mentioned the Palm Beach Cultural Council as a great resource. I really put out there that artists should get into that registry one. With this, because of this, the height and everything, they're using Chalk and Brush, which is a Miami-based company that really helps artists take that vision and apply it, because that's people can't do that. I mean, that takes a certain skill set, and you need to know how to go that high and get your design there. So working with the Cultural Council, I try to get those resources so they're available to the local artists because they need them. You're right.
Thank you. And I would love to see that we have some type of mentorship opportunity where people would be able to participate in these larger projects so that they can gain the experience necessary to be able to go out on their own and bid for these projects.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Sabila.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? If not, I will entertain a motion.
I move approval of resolution number 221-24. This motion is based on the findings that the proposed artworks meet the criteria set forth in section 78-125 of the City Code as reviewed by the ArtLife WPB committee.
It's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, like sign. Hearing no opposition, motion carries unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving now to item 9.4, resolution number 231-24, a request by the City of West Palm Beach to adopt the 2024 Palm Beach County Local Mitigation Strategy. Mr. Wall?
Mayor, Commissioners, my name is Ralph Wall. I work for the Development Services Department. I'm a management analyst for the city. I also serve as the CRS coordinator. CRS stands for the Community Rating System. And under that program, we participate with the National Flood Insurance Program. And we also are involved in what's called the Local Mitigation Strategy. The Local Mitigation Strategy is a program, let's see if I can get this thing started, that coordinates and looks at our vulnerability to various hazards. These could be natural hazards, flood, hurricane, biological things, technological. Riviera Beach got hit with a ransomware thing, human, terrorism, and those types of hazards that could impact us that we need to plan for. And that's what this program is all about. we tried to address every conceivable hazard that could happen to us here in Palm Beach County and come up with a mitigation strategy to handle it. So some of the reasons why we need to adopt, or we're asked to adopt this program, is it's a FEMA program, and in order to qualify for certain grants from FEMA, the jurisdictions have to adopt this program. So in order to qualify or receive pre-disaster mitigation, hazard mitigation grant program, the flood mitigation assistance program, and the most recent one, the Building Resilient Infrastructure of Communities program, which is called BRIC. Those are major programs with good funding for lots of mitigation projects, but in order to qualify to get these funds from FEMA, we will have to, as a jurisdiction, adopt this plan. Also, this is really critical, in order to qualify for FEMA disaster assistance funds, a declared disaster like a hurricane or a rain event, other things, biological, chemical, fire, in order to get the awards from FEMA and qualify for those awards, we have to be an adoptee of these programs. The city is required to adopt it. Currently, the city of West Palm Beach has projects on what is called the LMS Project Priority List. This priority list is a list of all the projects that various communities and jurisdictions have put on the list to be qualified for in case of a disaster or in case of grant funding opportunities. So the city of West Palm Beach has been working very diligently over the last few years to get projects on that list. One of the nice things about having your projects on that list is if you did have a, heaven forbid, a major disaster, FEMA comes in and says, we've got so many hundreds of millions of dollars, give us how many projects that you have funding from the top to the bottom. And they will fund it. So you hope you never that never happens, but it's incumbent upon us to have projects on that list just in case. And the city has been very diligent about that. We've got fire department, police department, utilities. We've got beach and seawall projects, stormwater infrastructure projects are on this list by the city of West Palm Beach. Right now, at this moment, the city has 23 projects on the PPL. The value of those projects is $168 million. With funding through FEMA grants, we could get 75% of that funded. So that's $126 million that could be funded. Now, there's a few ifs. If West Palm Beach adopts the LMS and the city applies for the grants and the grants are awarded. But all that being said, it's, as you can see, it's a very worthwhile project. So consequently, the staff recommends approval of the resolution 231-24. Any questions, concerns?
Very good. Thank you for that presentation. Any questions? Commissioner Fox?
Thank you so much for the presentation. It seems like a no-brainer that we would want to make sure all of our mitigation strategies are covered. But just to clarify, in the case of an emergency, things that are not in the project list, I mean, for example, if there was a hurricane, there's obviously would be a lot more issues that FEMA would need to address. So that is not falling under this particular resolution.
Well, if we have to be a participant of the LMS in order to gain, have access to declared emergencies and funds that are awarded as a result of that declared disaster. So one of the things we do, like in a hurricane, just a little background, sorry, after a hurricane event, we go out and do damage assessment. We report our damages to the county. The county accumulates all that and then reports it to FEMA, and then the president decides whether to declare an emergency, and then they come up with an amount that they consider will help cover the disaster. And then FEMA comes in and starts, helping to mitigate the problems, award, funds to help recover. So for us to be able to participate, as we always have, we have to be an adoptee of this program. But because we would be an adoptee of the program, we're naturally brought in and considered for awards for the damages.
Any other questions, comments? If not, I will entertain a motion.
I move approval of resolution number 231-24.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, like sign. Hearing no opposition, motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Thank you again, Mr. Wall.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Commissioners.
Item 10.1, public hearing and second reading of ordinance number 5115-24, authorizing the mayor to execute interlocal funding agreements between the City of West Palm Beach and the West Palm Beach Community Redevelopment Agency.
Hello, Mayor and Commissioners. Here again for the second reading. I know we missed you last time.
State your name.
Oh, Jade Green, Deputy Director of the Community Redevelopment Agency.
Okay.
Just to recap, this is a partnering ordinance with Resolution 2457 approved at the CRA meeting, authorizing the mayor to execute interlocal agreements for already items that are within our budget. Just to give a quick summary, this is again, authorizing only budgeted things. It will not approve anything that's in our budget. So for example, we are trying to put new security cameras in a number of our parks. And the IT department has master agreements with opportunity to install and acquire all that equipment. So it would benefit us to partner with the city IT department to execute that and to expedite this process instead of coming back to the commission and going to our CRA board again. This would authorize the mayor to execute that interlocal agreement. I'll say another example. In partnering with the engineering department, who has a number of master contracts that we may not possess, such as acquiring surveys, say for our Play Art Connect project, which is already within our budget, we can reach out to the engineering department to create that ILA and again authorize the mayor to execute that agreement. So that is pretty much the summary of this ordinance.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. Any questions, comments? If not, I will entertain a motion.
Move approval of ordinance number 5115-24 on second reading.
It's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion. Hearing none. Madam Clerk, can you read the ordinance, please?
Ordinance number 5115-24, an ordinance of the City Commission of the City of West Palm Beach, Florida, authorizing the mayor to execute interlocal funding agreements between the City of West Palm Beach and the West Palm Beach Community Redevelopment Agency, where such funding has been budgeted and appropriated, providing a conflicts clause and an effective date and for other purposes.
All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, like sign. Hearing no opposition, motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Item 10.2, public hearing of resolution number 234-24, granting an exemption for the Downtown Development Authority from the second meal ad valorem tax and approving an interlocal agreement among the West Palm Beach Community Redevelopment Agency, the City of West Palm Beach, and the West Palm Beach Downtown Development Authority for fiscal years 2025 through 2029. Mr. Fana.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners. Armando Fana, Assistant City Administrator. So this resolution does a couple of things, as was mentioned in the reading out. It does approve for the second mill on the ad valorem, so it doesn't have to go into the CRA trust fund, and you'll get an explanation of that in a second. But more importantly, it provides for the new interlocal agreement for the next 5 years. The previous one just expired, and that is what really lays out the responsibilities and roles for both the city, the CRA, and the Downtown Development Authority. And with that, I'm going to invite Tanika James, the Executive Director of the Downtown Development Authority, to go over a presentation I believe she gave at the CRA meeting. So this will kind of be an abbreviated version of what she's already given you.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Commissioners. Tanika James Fayman, Executive Director for the West Palm Beach Downtown Development Authority. I know Armando mentioned this would be abbreviated, but it's not too abbreviated because I wanted to make sure that you had all the information regarding the TIF and the payment of the exemption for the second mill. We started this process back in April, reviewing our budget, doing presentations to the CRA twice in regards to the current budget, adopting our final budget in September, and then coming back to you all now for renewal of our interlocal agreement, both to the CRA board and now here at City Commission. Just to understand our fiscal relationship with the interlocal agreement, in 1967, the DDA was established. In 1985, the CRA was formed. In 1993, by referendum, we increased our millage to 2 mills. In 2007, we reduced that to 1 mill, establishing our current fiscal funding structure with the city and the CRA, reducing that millage in 2022 to 0.98, and then most recently in 2023, reducing that again to 0.97. And so today we're here to talk about our current new work plan for 2024 to fiscal year 2029. Some of the elements in the interlocal agreement is the adoption of our work plan, which is basically the scope of our agreement, refunding of the TIF, and the exemption of the second mill, meaning that the DDA does not levy the second mill. The CRA makes us whole by paying us that second mill as well as a TIF, making up that value of the unlevied portion. Additional project funding as needed when it's identified through the second mill, and then additional terms in our agreement include exemption from the special event permitting fees, allocation for funding for outreach and safety services, downtown mobility, and then clematis trash cans maintenance. These are the 4 pillars that we focus on in our work plan: district services and operations, the public realm programs, business development, and then marketing and public relations. These are several of the items that are underneath district services and operations, which are landscaping, our pressure washing, downtown clean team, and then the holiday lighting beautification. Underneath the public realm programs, we've got placemaking programs, which are some of our reoccurring activations that you see in downtown, transportation and mobility, our ambassador program, as well as community outreach and safety. In the business development is our incentive programs, which is our leasehold improvements, exterior improvements, and then when a new business opens and is ready to operate, we welcome them into our downtown community. And then marketing and public relations, which is our advertising, marketing of the downtown district as a whole, and then just public relations in general. Primarily a lot of crisis management if that happens to arise. And then this is our total budget. As you can see, the TIF payment, and then the DDA CRA interlocal agreement, which is our TIF, plus the second mill that is not levied to make up our total budget. These are all of our expenditures per category. And then just a breakdown of where the majority of our funding is focused on, which is our district services and our public realm area, a little more than 64%. And that's it, what I have for any questions, I guess.
Thank you very much for that presentation. Any comments, questions? Commissioner Lambert?
Thank you. I just wanted to make a comment about the DDA's attention to the public realm, whether that's great events that are going on in the public realm or the maintenance of that area. It's really been great to see so much focus on that, so much vibrancy, and the ambassador team out picking up trash has been really great, and you see a noticeable impact. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Very good. Any other question, Commissioner Fox?
Thank you so much for the presentation. I think the last time you were here before the budget, you were talking about the new ambassador team there would be a clean team that would also be joined by another, that there would be, I guess, 3 different teams that were working together under the same umbrella.
Correct.
And that was not going to be starting, I think, fully until November 1st.
October 1. We're fully up and operating.
Okay. And so
yes,
they're
in blue shirts now on the street. They're in bright blue shirts. That is our ambassador team. So they are there as eyes and ears, directions, restaurants you want to check out, events that are happening. They'll escort you if you need to go somewhere. The green team, the ones that are in the green shirts, that's our pressure washing as well as our clean team. So they go around and do the trash, they do the cleaning, they do the pressure washing. The blue shirts that started October 1 is our actual ambassadors.
Fantastic, thank you. I see the green team everywhere. They are so friendly. They are fantastic. Every time of day that I'm on Clematis Street, they're out, and I am very appreciative of having them there. And I will also look for the blue shirts now that I know that they're there. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Very good. Any other questions, comments? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion.
Mayor, I move to approve resolution number 234-24.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, like sign. Hearing no opposition, motion carries unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, Commissioners, we will now turn to the quasi-judicial portion of the meeting, so I will need you to make your disclosures. We'll start with Commissioner Warren, because I see she's already ready.
Thank you, Mayor. As to matters 11.1 through 11.3, I have not had ex parte communications, not received written communications, not conducted an investigation, not made a site visit, and not received expert opinions. I request that these disclosures and all written communications be made part of the record.
Commissioner Fox?
As to items 11.1, 11.2, and 11.3, I have not had ex parte communications. I have not received written communications. I have not conducted an investigation. I have not made a site visit. I have not received expert opinions. I request that these disclosures and all written communications be made part of the record.
President Ward?
As to matters 11.1 through 11.3, I have not had ex parte communications, have not received written communications, have not conducted an investigation, have not made a site visit, have not received expert opinions. I request that these disclosures and all written communications be made part of the record.
Commissioner Lambert?
Thank you. As to items 11.1, 11.2, and 11.3, I have not had ex parte communications. I have not received written communications, not conducted an investigation, I have not made a site visit, nor have I received expert opinions. I request that these disclosures and all written communications be made part of the record.
Thank you. Commissioner Peduzzi?
Thank you. As to items 11.1, 11.2, 11.3, I have not had ex parte communications. I have not received written communications. I have not conducted an investigation, have not made a site visit, nor have I received any expert opinions. I request that these disclosures and all written communications be made a part of the record.
Thank you very much. Madam Clerk, can you swear in all witnesses, please?
Would everyone wishing to speak on items 11.1 through 11.3 please stand and raise your right hand? Do you swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Item 11.1, resolution number 203-24, a request by Joni Brinkman and Shane Brodnix of Urban Design Studio on behalf of USREC Banyan K Resort and Golf LLC and Banyan K Community Development District for a major amendment to the Banyan K Resort Residential Plan Development, RPD, Commercial Plan Development, CPD, to modify the structured covered parking within PBAs number 4 and number 6 and sign regulation sections of the Banyan K Design Guidelines and Development Regulations. Ms. Brinkman?
Good
welcome.
evening, Mayor and Commissioners. I am here tonight on behalf of the new owners of Banyan K Development. They are in the process of hopefully by the end of this year opening the hotel. Very excited. And there's a couple of changes that we're requesting to be made to the design guidelines that I'm going to be presenting to you tonight. Again, it's a major amendment to the design guidelines, which is the document that regulates how this CPD, RPD is developed. And it's specific to the parking structure screening for the parking spaces on the deck and to the sign regulations. Back in September of '24, the Planning Board did recommend approval unanimously for this application to the Commission. Most of you are familiar with where the Lands of the Presidents is located, and this is the subject parcel within it, formerly known as the North Course. Consists of the CPD, including the golf club, the proposed hotel, the single-family homes, and then a separate RPD to the north known as the Estates of Banyan K. That is a separate zoning designation. Just wanted to go over that we did follow the requirements above and beyond for notifying all the residents being affected. And the most recent mailings included as well the 94 lots to the north, even though they were not part of the affected area. A little bit of the history. Back in 2013, the approved design guidelines were established. In 2014, a major amendment was done and a subdivision approved for the 94 lots to the north. And then in 2015, a major amendment to the entire project to change the name to Sea Palm Resort, extend the build-out date and the mix of uses and the pod boundaries, and increase the height of the hotel. And they were made by the previous developer of the project. In 17, another major amendment to change the product from zero lot line to single family in one of the permissible building areas, as we call it. In 17, they affixed land use and zoning on an additional small portion that was not included in the original development. In 21, we approved another major amendment to change the design guidelines to modify the parking garage screening from a trellis system to what was known as a shade sail system. Those requests were made by Banyan Cane Resort, the previous owner. In 2021, we added 4.15 acres to the development that was for the apartment building that is now Banyan View open and operating. A major amendment also included the rezoning and land use to that. And these requests were made by a separate owner, ECI Palm Beach. Again, that development is constructed. This just shows you the overall area of the CPD, and the area in red is the parking structure that we're speaking of. Just close up to show you in relationship to the hotel and the pool area, and then we also have the hotel condominiums to the west. So the request is to add back the option for us to construct the trellis, which was previously approved by the commission. We had proposed to replace that current detail in the design guidelines. Staff has elected it that was probably more appropriate just to add another option, which is what we're doing by simply adding the words "or trellis." Again, this was previously approved by the commission. This is what's currently in the design guidelines that would remain. And this is reverting back to the trellis system, which was previously approved, which will be now another option, which we are electing to move forward with. This shows the top of the parking deck. You can also see the hotel and the clubhouse in the rear. Those support poles were installed initially when the initial trellis was proposed. So we're ready to go. They're structurally sound to implement the trellis design, and they are ready to install that trellis system. The second request is being made to the project name, Banyan Cane Resort. What we have worked with staff with, though, is we're just adding a sentence. We're not actually changing the detail in the design guidelines. These are the two entry signs on Congress Avenue. The detail will remain Banyan K Resort and Golf Club, but this additional language allows us to change that sign face labeling. Prior to and since the last planning board meeting, we've worked with the HOA, and we've come to an agreement with the Estates of Banyan K were concerned about losing their identity on that entry sign on Congress Avenue, which is currently looks like this. We're not changing any of the design of the sign, only the sign face area would be amended. And what has been agreed to with us and the HOA, the 94 lots, is we will continue to have the residents at Banyan K on that entry sign. They have reviewed this, they are in agreement with it, and at this meeting we are committing that we are going to honor that agreement. So we are ready to go ahead and replace that sign, but retain the residents at Banyan K. This is just the internal sign that they already have, just to give you an idea that when you go into the roundabout, they also have additional signage there. Staff has recommended conditions, which we are all in agreement with. I won't go into all of them. They're in the design guidelines and in your resolution report. Again, we're in agreement with all the conditions proposed by staff, and this will just allow us to move forward with the trellis system and hopefully get the hotel open as soon as possible. The trellis system code provides for the previous screening and this one on the parking deck. The request for the sign face on the entry sign doesn't increase the sign face area and allows for that future rebranding on the southern sign. Again, the major amendment to modify the design guides. specifically to the rooftop screening and the signage, and we meet all these the land development regulations of the city, and staff is recommending approval. That really concludes my presentation. I'm available for any questions. I don't know if the staff is going to also provide a presentation.
Thank you very much. Any questions for the applicant before we bring staff up? Commissioner Fox?
Thank you so much. I'm happy to see this moving forward. Can you remind us what the timeline was? It sounded like you said the end of this year. Is that?
That is our goal. We have actually ownership is here, and he's shaking his head yes.
Oh, that's fantastic. Great. Thank you so much.
Any other questions for, who's the ownership?
Mr. Greg Jaffe of Witkoff. You want to stand? He didn't.
Oh, okay, all right. Yeah. Well, welcome, welcome. Okay, that's good. All right, any other questions for the applicant? Okay, we'll bring staff up and hear their presentation.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. Kevin DeFrank, Senior Planner here, and I will be presenting staff's findings and recommendation for the subject agenda item, resolution number 203-24. So the applicant provided a thorough explanation of what's being requested for the plan development major amendment request, and staff finds that it complies with the amendment standards found in the city zoning and land development regulations. And on the 17th of September, the planning board voted for a recommendation of approval with conditions of the subject plan development major amendment request. And therefore, staff is recommending an approval of resolution number 203-24. And I would like to reiterate that if the commission approves the subject resolution, this will allow the applicant to move forward and append and add to the sign face content of the permanent identification signs by way of sign-specific building permit application. And that concludes staff's recommendation, and I'm available for questions.
Very good, thank you. Any questions for staff? All right, any further discussion? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion.
Mayor, I move to approve resolution number 203-24 based upon the application submitted, the staff report, factual testimony, the recommendation of the planning board, the findings that this request complies with the comprehensive plan, and the standards in section 94-32A of the city zoning and land development regulations.
It's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion. Hearing none. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, like sign. Hearing no opposition, motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Item 11.2, resolution number 223-24, a request by William Schmidt for a Class A special use permit with a waiver for a dock and boat lift to be located outside the middle one-third of the subject property located at 184 Arlington Road.
Mayor, Commissioners, my name is Natasha Martin. I'm here on behalf of William Smith for a special Class A permit. Okay. The reason for my request today is because the property located to the east of Mr. Smith's property has a dock that butts against his property line, so we are not able to meet the city's requirements to not be in the one-third of the property, so that's why I'm here. I don't have a pretty presentation. The presentation just has all the permits that have been approved by South Florida Water Management. We do have DEP's approval, and we do have the Army Corps' approval. I have went to several meetings with the cities. They have approved all the designs, so. The first one is just a table of contents. It shows the aerial job site, and red shows Mr. William Smith's property. And if you look to the east of his property, you can see that the neighbor's dock does butt along his property line. So that's why we had to move the design and move it to the west a little bit. This shows the DEP permit was finalized and approved based off of what the city of West Palm required of us to get in the permit, so that's what we have. We are constructing a 321 square foot dock with new piles supporting it and a I apologize, but I believe it is a 27,000 or 37 boat lift. This is just the part of the permit. Special conditions have been met. Sorry, guys. This shows his property the way it is today. This is the conforming and the plans that we are going to do. It shows the way that the dock and the boat lift will be made. This shows South Florida Water Management has been out there. They have approved everything as well. And that's basically my presentation for you guys today. Thank you for taking the time.
Thank you very much for that presentation. Any questions for the applicant before we hear from staff? Okay, staff, what say you?
Alexis Singlier, planner for the record. As the applicant stated, they're requesting a Class A special use permit. Because of they did provide the permit as mentioned. The boat or the dock is going to be located 10 feet west from that property line. That's the request is for the middle 1/3. Because of the area, I'm sorry, let me restart right now. Okay, so the request is for a Class A dock, for a dock to be located outside the middle 1/3 because of the area on Arlington. A lot of the majority of the docks are located outside the middle 1/3 because before 1960 there were no dock regulations, and because we allow legal non-conforming as long as you uptake and maintain your docks, you can remain to have your docks. But this has caused a hazard for new docks because there are docks that don't meet current code, so we're seeing more docks that are coming in that they can't comply because their neighbors don't comply. So these are the currently resolutions that you previously approved. I just provided a spreadsheet of all the docks on the street, the ones that are in compliance, the ones that aren't in compliance, but they're legally in compliance, and I couldn't find a record on 3 of them, but they do look outside the middle 1/3. And then this is just an aerial view. The applicant's house is in red. And then this is just another data sheet of the docks that don't comply. They're 54% don't comply to the middle 1/3, so it is half of them. These are 2 letters of support the applicant provided, neighbor to the east and neighbor to the west. Staff finds that they meet all the standards required. Planning board did recommend approval for 6-0 on September 17th, and staff is also recommending approval for resolution 223-24. Any questions for staff?
Very good. Thank you for that presentation. Any questions? Yes. Commissioner Lambert.
Thank you. Excuse me. I didn't see on those 2 letters, were those the abutting neighbors?
Correct, yes.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Any other questions for staff? All right. We don't need cards on this, do we? If there are no other comments or questions, I'll entertain a motion.
Mayor, I move to approve resolution number 223-24 based on the findings that the petition meets the required standards in section 94-36E3 through 5, sections 94-313A3 and section 94-273A2 of the City of West Palm Beach zoning and land development regulations, ZLDRs.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion. Hearing none. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, like sign. Hearing no opposition, motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Now, Commissioners, as has been previously stated, there's been a request for continuance of item 11.3, and we need a motion.
Mayor, this was a question for,
Yes.
they said date certain, is that the motion? Instead of
Well,
an actual date?
November 12th.
The date is November the 12th, Commissioner, and if you would also include in your motion to
continue it to City Hall, Commission Chambers, 401 Clematis Street. I would appreciate it.
Okay, that's not on the staff recommend. So what do you want us to say now?
Just the date, November 12th.
Right.
And the location, City Hall, Commission Chambers, 401 Clematis Street.
Okay, whoever's making the motion, hope you got that down. In the future, let's make sure we include that information in the staff recommendation.
He knows I struggle. No.
Yes, okay. I will entertain a motion.
Mayor, I move a continuance of item 11.3 to November 12, 2024 at City Hall, Commission Chambers, 401 Clematis Street.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Was that sufficient, Madam City Attorney?
It is, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Discussion. Hearing none. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, like sign. Hearing no opposition, motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Now it's time for comments from the public. Do we have any cards?
Yes.
Michael Cleveland.
Good evening again, Mayor, Commissioners, staff, audience. Michael Cleveland, West Palm. I'm curious to know that when you display or publicize children in the general public through the media, a parental signature is still required. It used to. I don't know about now. The Paddleball Club has been operating. The first night, they was there till 11:45. Of course, I had to get on them. But the problem has been rectified. But the hours are still in question because they start from 7 and they want to end till 11. That's very disturbing, 7 days a week. I want to talk about, very briefly, if I may, oh, by the way, Olera has a petition that covers the sidewalk at Curry Park. Citizens have to go in the street to continue the path down the public right-of-way. I'm asking, is that necessary for them to maintain that because they're finished with the dock? I think they are the construction part of it. So I would ask ask staff, ask them to have it removed or open up so those citizens don't have to go on the street to continue the path or walkway. It is said that a person's word is their bond, and doing so, having a bond, shows a lot about their character. And quite frankly, when you have, well, we all have parents, or some of us may be parents, but when children leave the home or whatever they do, they know right from wrong, or they've been taught. So when they go out and go astray, it's really not the fault of the parents, even though they have been taught. I say that to say this, and my condolences go out to the family, the people in Boynton Beach. I seriously did not like, nor did I appreciate the handling, and this is city business, and I have nothing to do with the way Mayor operated the city, but I think that the chief was handled sort of on the wrong side, if I may say so. There have been times, there have been a lot of things I've heard that relates to the mayor that wasn't really publicized and broadcast on the air. And for the chief to be disgraced like he was, I just think it was wrong. That's my opinion. I'm speaking my mind, as I always do. And having said that, just like to say thank you. Enjoy the holiday and trick or treat.
Thank you very much. Any other cards? No? Okay, now we'll turn to comments from the dais, and we'll begin with you, Madam President.
Thank you. I was going to announce that the Paddle Club is open for business, and so if you're interested in learning a new sport, or if you already know paddle, I think I'm saying it right, please go out and participate. I plan on learning, and I hope that they are following when they're supposed to be closing, but I can check up on that. I've gotten a lot of questions. We've had a great outreach beyond the badge and Coffee with the Cop and a lot of different outreach in different places, but I've gotten a lot of questions about the monthly chief meetings. Those are still going to happen. The last one was canceled because of the storm that we had, but the next one is on the 13th of next month, same place. place, same time, Gaines Park, 6:30, and I will make another announcement the next commission meeting, but I wanted to let people know because I've been getting that question a lot. Just recently, the week before last, I feel like all the weeks are blending in together, but I had the privilege of traveling with Administrator Johnson and Commissioner Lambert to Dallas on the biannual Economic Council Palm Beach County trip, leadership trip, with a bunch of other leaders in the county and business professionals. It was a great time. I always learn a lot. I've been to these over the years, and we always bring back different items, and I can't wait. We have another session to kind of go over what we learned. It was education, industry, infrastructure, parks, arts. It was a full-packed schedule, and I'm really appreciative to the Economic Council because they continue to just go above and beyond and provide us with an experience of what other cities are doing, and also look at introspective of what we could do, or maybe things that we do better and we're on the right track and we're working on it. So it was a great trip, and I was glad to participate. And then finally, I went back and forth wanting to bring this up because growing up in this area, there's always going to be areas that, you're told not to go to as a kid, and Tamarind Avenue was one of them. And now that I'm an adult, I always get frustrated by that reaction for some of the districts of, I don't want to go there because I'm unsafe, or, just negative press versus positive press, because I feel badly for the people that live there that call that home. And I don't want to bring up negative things, but we have to take the good and the bad to create a better situation. And so I do want to bring this up in part because I want to thank our police officers and our wonderful staff. On Saturday, I've been mentioning at a few commission meetings that we were having the Gaines Park trunk or treat event, and it was going really well. And it was about 6:30, a little bit after that, and all of a sudden I just saw a rush of kids pass by me, and I was thinking immediately, oh, there must be a fight in that direction, because usually kids, they always want to go towards a fight and check it out. Unfortunately, they were scared and moving away from gunshots. And there wasn't gunshots in the park, it was right outside of the park, but nevertheless, you could hear it from the park. And it took a night where we were having a great time into one that we had to shut down and move on. And I want to thank our police officers. I was actually at a tent right next to the police, and luckily we had them there. While other people were moving away from it, they immediately sprung into action, went towards it. They did a fantastic job cutting off the area, responding as they do, and I'm very appreciative of them, and I'm glad that they were there. They were there to, have fun and hand out candy, but they also reacted just very well. And then to our park staff, they did a phenomenal job. Nobody freaked out. There wasn't chaos. It was orderly, and just, I think everyone should be proud of our park staff for how they behaved. They not only have provided a fantastic event, but they handled that situation so well, and all of them, Leah, she was in here, this is the second time I've given her props and she's left already. Leah, marvelous, all of the staff did such a phenomenal job. Before that, because I want to try to end in positivity and outlook, there were so many children there, hundreds. I mean, hundreds and hundreds of kids there, went through families, grandmas, moms, dads, aunts, uncles, siblings, kids dancing like no one was watching, little tiny children barely able to grab a piece of candy, kids that were older that were taking too much candy in the handfuls, and it was just a really fun event, and they did such a fantastic job throwing it, and I hope we continue, because just because these types of things happen, I think that, in response, we should really lean into making sure that we are being active in those areas and providing opportunities to have fun and be proud of your environment, providing opportunities like your Leadership Academy to make sure that somebody feels proud and wants to better themselves, that we're providing these opportunities like we are in our schools for educational purposes, and making sure that we are doing everything we can, in particular in these areas, to make sure that they can realize whatever future that they want to have for themselves. And so I just want to leave on that note that it was a really fun time, and I would participate again, and I'm thankful to all of our staff. And I hope we can do more, because Gaines Park is a great park, and our community really deserves it. So that's all my comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Warren.
Thank you, Mayor. Reminder to everyone that there's a free car wash to all who attend Mint Eco's Haunted Car Wash Trick or Treat event on October 30th and 31st at 5577 Okeechobee Boulevard from 5 to 9 p.m. The family-friendly hours are from 5 to 7, and then the scary hours are from 7 to 9. There's a separation there. And I plan to be there to support the car wash and to get my free car wash. Looking forward to that.
Are you going to be there during the family hours or the scary hours?
The whole thing.
Oh, okay.
I'm ready. And Madam Administrator is joining me. She will be there. Surprise. All right.
During the family hours or the scary hours for Madam Administrator?
Madam? Okay, so this Saturday, November 2nd, I will be line dancing with the Chamber of Commerce of the Palm Beaches as they welcome and celebrate incoming board chairman Michael Davis, Senior VP and Chief Strategy Officer at WGI, where the attire is country classic. I don't know entirely what that means, so I'm looking for some support because I think, don't judge me, I think Dolly Parton, cowboy boots, I'm just saying, I don't know what that means. Country classic? That's what comes to mind, so help me out. I'll take all instructive.
Google it.
I'll Google it. That's what came up. See? So looking forward to that. I am sure that Mike will do a great job of being inclusive to commerce and welcoming businesses and supporting businesses in our community. So really, really looking forward to celebrating and line dancing the night away on November 2nd. Also this Saturday, I support the MSK's My Sister's Keepers third annual conference and brunch presented by Shine Productions. The conference is to encourage, empower, and build one another. The event will take place at the Hilton Garden Inn in West Palm Beach. Also on Saturday, congratulations to Representative Javante Edmonds and his Suits for Seniors event that will be taking place as well. So we'll be very, very busy on Saturday. Tomorrow, we will be saying thank you and farewell to Palm Beach County Commissioner Mac Bernard as he transitions to Senator Mac Bernard. We sincerely thank Commissioner Bernard for his service and leadership as a County Commissioner for District 7. The ceremony will be held tomorrow morning at the County Chambers, located at 301 North Olive Avenue at 9:30 a.m. in the Government Center. Mac has done a tremendous job of being a champion in the community, and he is term limited out, but he has really been an advocate for so many people. And even when people don't know that he's been advocating, I've seen him have very difficult conversations on the chamber floor. Congratulations to Reverend Allen for his very special ribbon cutting and reopening. Thank you, Commissioner Fox, for your words. Congratulations to the American Legion Post 199 and Commander Miller for an outstanding event on a Saturday night where there was a presentation for people that were receiving presidential awards. And I just want to say thank you, Commissioner Fox, for just being present in so many places. It's wonderful to me when I look up and I look out and I see your smile and your face and I feel your support. I don't know if you know how much it means to everyone in the community, and especially what it means to me when I see you out face forward with everyone in our community being just a cheerleader. So, and there's a First Wednesday Mixer at Cityside Suites on Wednesday, November the 6th. It is a free event that is open to the community where businesses are celebrated. And the special guest for this particular mixer is the new Deputy CRA Director, Ms. Jade Green, where she is invited to meet different members of the CRA and the community at large at Cityside Suites 401 North Rosemary. Thank you.
Thank you. I think it's only appropriate we move to Commissioner Fox Such kind words were said about her.
Well, thank you so much, Mayor. It was such a joy to attend the 2024 President's Lifetime Achievement Award ceremony this weekend. And one thing that Commissioner Warren forgot to mention was that she was a recipient of the President's Lifetime Achievement Award. And so it was such a joy to be there and celebrate with you. We were also celebrating with former Commissioner Ike Robinson, who is also a recipient, and one of my favorite, I shouldn't say that, but a wonderful leader in our community, Annie Ruth Nelson, who I do happen to love, and I was very happy to support her as well. She was a recipient, so it was a fantastic night, and I was very happy to be there for you, being a cheerleader and supporting everything you're doing, and it was just a very nice night to be, have some happy news. Also, the opening of Tamarind and the reopening of Hamburger Haven on Tamarind. That's also some positive news. I think it's the reason that we're doing what we do in the CRA is to have days like that. There must have been 200 people, I want to say, lined up. By the time we got there for the beginning of the event, when I was talking to Kenny, he said that the first person in line that morning at about 10 a.m. had driven from Jacksonville, and it was not someone who was a member of his family. So, it's been in demand for the reopening. So I encourage everyone to get out there, see Tamarind, it looks great, and have some hamburgers. Also want to remind everyone that early voting is now open until November 3rd. If you are in West Palm Beach, you can go to Gaines Park from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. And then, of course, Election Day is Tuesday, November 5th. The next time that we meet here, we will likely have a new president. We will have a new county commissioner for many of us in West Palm Beach. We will have a new state attorney. So I highly recommend everyone gets out to vote, not just for the presidential election, but all of the local elections that are so important to daily life. And our next CRA community meeting for the Historic Northwest will be held on Thursday, November 7th at the Heart and Soul Park at 6 p.m. We have a packed agenda of things that people care about most: public safety, sanitation, incentive and grant updates, and many other things. So I hope to see everybody there. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Baduzzi?
Thank you, Mayor, and I too would like to congratulate Commissioners Warren and former Commissioner Ike Robinson on their Lifetime Achievement Awards. It's a significant achievement, and I'm sure that you're very proud and of all that you've accomplished, so thank you. Mayor, I'd also like to briefly, if it's okay with you, address our western communities, in particularly our Andros Isle community. It's my understanding that the District County Commissioner held an event this evening in Andros Isle highlighting the public services available within the county. Unfortunately, this event was scheduled during our City Commission meeting, and none of us on this dais were able to attend. Mayor, I just had a thought that maybe we should consider doing something, putting something on the books where we can highlight all that the city does for its residents. And I think there's a little confusion out there among some of our residents and some of the communities that I've spoken to, where they think that the county, because it's a higher entity in some regards, does more for them or can do more for them than the city can do. And I think that we need to get out there and let them know that the city provides the majority of services to our communities, from public safety, from police, fire, water, sewer, trash collection, libraries, you name it, we do it. And I think we need to start highlighting all that we do in our community. Not that we don't, but maybe this is an opportunity for us to highlight it even more. Thank you.
Well, thank you for that suggestion. We'll follow up on that. Commissioner Lambert?
Thank you. Congratulations, Commissioner Warren. That's exciting to hear that news and well-deserved. I wanted to make a comment. I'm hopeful that people have heard, but if you haven't, that the County Board of Commissioners voted to convey their land that Vanderbilt was seeking, and so that was the last piece of the puzzle after this body approved to convey our land to Vanderbilt, and so they are now working hard on bringing a campus here, and I think that that's extremely exciting. As Commissioner Ward mentioned, that she and I and Administrator Johnson went to Dallas recently with the Economic Council, and we spent a lot, we were there for 3 days, and we spent one entire day on education, and then education bled into the other 2 days as well. And when I spoke at the County Board of Commissioners, one of the things I said was what struck me and many of our colleagues who went to Dallas was that the education and other activities that Dallas community leaders were doing had been in place for many decades. And it really struck me as to this old adage that someone once shared with me about the best time to plant a tree. When someone asks you that, the answer is 30 years ago. But the second best time to plant a tree is today. And I feel like that's what we're doing with Vanderbilt coming to West Palm Beach, and it will be a huge impact for our city, for our residents, as well as the community at Broad and Palm Beach County, as well as the Southeast region. Kind of on that education theme today, I was very excited to see the community impact report come out from the golf park. They produced a report for the 2023-24 year and noted that they have given invested $600,000 in the community through their academic program, and they've done this through academic support and introduction to golf programs, to career mentoring, and introduction to golf operations. If you have not been out there yet on Family Fun Friday, it's an amazing activity, fun for all ages in the family. They actually even have teachers out running activities for the kids. It's a great opportunity to meet some of your neighbors, and I've actually met folks from all over the county who come for that event. But the golf park continues to support the Forest Hill Golf Team, the Hospitality Academy, summer camp, among many others, and I'm just very proud and wanted to report that. Thank you.
Thank you. A few items. On November the 20th, we'll be having the next installment of the Soul in the City Jazz Experience. Solomon J, Tap into Soul. He blends multi-octave vocals and world-class tap dancing on a soulful set list featuring both classic and contemporary chart-topping hits from I Feel Good, to those who don't know, that's James Brown, to Uptown Funk, Bruno Mars. Mr. J's High Energy Show transports listeners from the 1950s to today in the blink of an eye. Again, that's on Wednesday, November 20th at the Lake Pavilion from 7 to 9. For complete details and to buy tickets, please visit WPB.org. The second annual Community Resource Marketplace event will be held on Thursday, November 7th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Mandel Public Library. Meet providers and organizations that offer a variety of services for seniors, veterans, job seekers, and families, including debt relief and mental health. This event is free and open to the public. Again, that's on Thursday, November 7th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Mandel Public Library. Participate in the city's hiring event and expo in partnership with Manpower, a global leader in temporary and permanent staffing. The hiring event will take place on Wednesday, November 13th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. in the Mandel Public Library Auditorium. The city is seeking to fill positions in multiple departments and will have representatives on site to answer questions. On Sunday, November 3rd at 2 p.m. will be the annual Veterans Day Parade down on Clematis Street. I will be participating in that. I'm glad it was mentioned earlier that Tuesday is Election Day. Early voting ends on Sunday, so if you want to early vote, get it done. Otherwise, if you haven't already voted, please vote on November Tuesday, November 5th. I do want to remind everyone that this Thursday is Halloween. Please have a happy and safe Halloween. Also, Monday, November 11th is Veterans Day. City Hall and Mandel Public Library will be closed in honor of this important day. So the next City Commission meeting will take place on Tuesday, November 12th at 5 p.m. And Commissioner Peduzzi, I'll put my head together with yours and figure out an opportunity to maybe do something at one of the western communities. Point well taken. And so that concludes my remarks for tonight. Thank you. God bless each and every one of you. God bless the great city of West Palm Beach. Good night, everyone.